Welcome to Checkered Shorts, your quick stop for all things IndyCar. From race recaps and driver drama to bold takes and under the radar stories, we bring you the speed, strategy, and spectacle in a bite sized form. Buckle up. Let's go racing. Hey, hello, welcome back. Checkered Shorts, episode number 89. And we are celebrating a big Sunday.
Glad to have you.
Because we are happy to be back on a post-race reaction after a big, long break. So episode 89, let's start off with a history lesson. Kick it over to Professor Dinwiddie.
All right, 89. The focus of today's history lesson is a gentleman who's, I'll give you a couple hints here, Keith and Pat. His grandson is now sitting atop the standings in the NXT series for this season. You may also know him for his love of fruit juice. This is a guy who's a two-time Formula One champion, retired back to his home country of Brazil for 4 years, and then came back to IndyCar and ended up winning a season title and 2 Indianapolis 500s in 1989 and 1993. The man, the myth, the legend, Emerson Fittipaldi.
So I know the whole like orange juice thing. I mean, I remember Mo being fast with Penske and stuff, but I was pretty naive and honestly pretty young when it came to Mo, but I remember the whole, but was he that dominant? Like, was he that good?
He was that good. He was a very, very good race car driver. Even at this point, like he is probably past his prime, age wise.
Right.
In his late 30s when he came to IndyCar, and just jumped right in. Actually, Penske didn't. He came back to the series IndyCar in '84, and Penske didn't sign him until 1990. Actually, Pat Patrick had him. You probably remember '89. He won in a Marlboro car, but it actually was Pat Patrick's car. It was his team. So Pat Patrick had that in Marlboro sponsorship.
No kidding.
Before Roger did. Yeah,
I did not know that.
And then that was one of the great races because that's the one that he and Al Jr. went side by side
on 3,
and
he bumped Junior. Yeah,
Junior went into the wall. Yeah. But Junior got him back in '94.
Correct.
Mo had almost a lap lead with 15 laps to go and lost it and hit the wall. Yeah. And Al Jr. ended up winning that race. So, but 89 goes to Emerson Fittipaldi.
Mo, baby. Pretty cool. Nice.
So we got back to some racing action, and we kind of thought going in what would be the expectation for the race, but now that we've got to set through a race after being on such a long break, what were your guys' thoughts? Just major overall takeaway from the race.
I'll go first because that first quarter of the race is like Portland's the best race ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like. There was banging, there was bumping, there was passing. Like Felix was ahead, but wasn't like light years ahead, and still obviously a lot of strategy and a lot of race to go. But Plo wasn't in first; he wasn't even in second there for a little bit of it. That was my takeaway. It's like Portland's really cool, and then whatever. But that was my first initial part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really nice track. I wish it was a little bit longer. One thing that I noticed today is that race seemed like it took forever. To
agree with that.
And if that's what that one's going to look like, then I'm not looking forward to 2 weeks from now for the Freedom 250 because I think that one's going to last longer than the 500.
Correct. That's a lot of laps.
147 laps on a street course seems like an awful lot. But I thought it was a good race. Like I thought there was a lot of action. I thought there was a lot of side by side. I thought Fox did a good job, like you said, in the first segment of the race of showing those overtakes that were happening. They weren't necessarily happening up front, but there was a lot of action. it does die out in the middle to the later stages of the race. But
and that's part of racing.
again, you've got a lot of strategy going on. There were several pit stops. The tire strategy, I know it gets old listening to Townsend and James talk about it, and Will talk about all that, but I did think it played a part today in where guys decided to use their red or black tires. It seemed like the reds did fall off, maybe not as much as they expected them to, but it looked like different teams could find speed on both sets of tires. So the way the cars were set up, I think, made a difference today. Overall, I thought it was a good race, but again, when you've got a good race, you don't have any calamity.
Yeah.
The best driver is going to figure it out, and we know who that is, and he did it once again.
Yeah, I thought there were a couple of different parts in the race that would kind of got you up. The exchange between Lundgaard and Kiffin Simpson, that was a fun, contentious point of the racetrack because Lundgaard had kind of been dicing through and bullying his way, kind of being, borderline. I mean, I don't want to say reckless, but not necessarily. There were no niceties in the way he was overtaking guys, making them make decisions and chalk up so he could get by. And for Kiffin Simpson,
I love
kind of hold his ground and push back basically, and overtake him. I thought it was pretty cool. Cool exchange.
There was from top to bottom, the guys that you expect and the guys that we've been talking about, a Power, a Newgarden were showing their hand, and not that they had something to win, a car to win necessarily, but we're still up there banging and bumping, and could have been, a Will Power. Like, shit, you missed the pits, dude. That caused you, I think, at least a half a second sort of thing.
I think it cost him second place today.
Yeah, like that's a huge mistake.
Yeah,
a huge mistake. Newgarden had a great car, and it was doing kind of old Newgarden things on road courses a little bit. Again, not that he has anything for Pelot, but it was good to see that competitiveness out of him and that team, I think.
I'm not speaking of Newgarden. It was nice to see he's come out this week and talked a little more about the injury, and he's being a human being again,
normal, right,
and opening up to the fans and to the media, and to know that like he's still right foot braking. I mean, that's interesting to be able to perform as well as he did today. That's unusual for a driver it's hard for a driver who doesn't do that naturally to come into against this level of competition and perform like he did today.
Buxton said he's braking with his left foot other than turn one.
Yeah, that's
during
true.
that race. Like, that's crazy. Like the mental capacity to do that, pretty unreal. So
yeah, that's true.
It was pretty. I mean, all around pretty good race. I
still think the big winner from the weekend, even though he wasn't in the podium, was Rinus VeeKay. For a lot of reasons.
That's who I was going to bring up.
For a lot of reasons, he's on the tip of everyone's tongue or the front of everyone's mind because of the empty seats and where he might go. But then in addition to that, they have a little funny spoof with
it's great.
So
Oreo.
Yeah. And then he also shows out. All two of those things could happen, and then you underperform and underwhelm. But he has not underperformed or underwhelmed most weeks this season.
No. I was just getting ready to talk about that. Like, he is I text you guys before, like after qualifying, like Chip Ganassi, like he has to be at the top of his list right now. I mean, I know Christian Lundgaard is Christian Lundgaard, but what Rinus is doing and has done when the equipment he's been in, whether it was Carpenter, Coyne, or now Juncos, the kid can drive, and the kid is proving that if you put him up front, he can stay there. He's not getting there by strategy. He's getting there because he's racing cars there, and he deserves that Chip Ganassi number 9 car.
I hope so, man. It's in 2 road courses in a row, they performed well. And today, at the very beginning, Kirkwood was on his ass trying to pass him. And then, okay, yeah, yellow comes out because of Graham. And then they're up his ass again. And I'm like, maybe he just doesn't have it. Maybe he's going to, lose it. But lo and behold, he finishes 4th. You kind of lost him after that first yellow, or the only yellow, I guess. But finished 4th. But at first I thought, oh, here he goes. He might not have the car he qualified with, or doesn't have quite the tenacity to figure it out. But lo and behold, there he was again. I hope to the Lord that Chip picks him up. It'd be really cool.
And don't forget that, like, he's sitting 10th in the standings right now, and if it's not for the Pillow incident at Phoenix, he's probably sitting 7th or 8th. Like, he lost a lot of points that weekend.
Yeah. No, pretty awesome. He did show out. It's a great point.
Marcus Ericsson was another one that impressed me.
Again, man.
This is a guy, a lot of times in sports we talk about a guy gets a contract and all of a sudden he just fades away, right?
Yeah.
Marcus got a new contract. I know it's only a year contract, but comes right out the next week, this weekend, and qualified 5th, 6th, something like that, and then finishes 6th. Like, great job, Ericsson and Andretti overall. Wow, what did Will Power teach them about Portland? Because this is a group that has not been good at road courses, but they finished 3 in the top 6 today.
And I think it's good for Kirkwood. He was 5th. Still has learning to do, sort of thing. But it was just a good, quiet. He needs to win, but just a good, consistent thing that I think that's what he needs to keep doing, week after week, year after year, to compete with Pillow. And yeah, compared to the others, he had the best day, the top 3, right? Yeah, by far.
Yeah. Keith, where were your McLaren boys this weekend?
There's a ton of talk about Lundgaard, and got to watch him move up, but the others just kind of faded away. I don't know. It's kind of interesting because you feel like they never have the setup right. They're always talking all the way through practice, qualifying, and at the end of the race, they still don't feel like they got things, in line. So I don't know what has to happen to get that squared away, but I don't think in most cases, I don't think it's the drivers. I think those guys are talented, but there's something happening where they're not getting the correct setup.
It was interesting during one of the Georgia brought up Pato's tires, and Pato's not nice on tires. Everybody kind of knows that. He uses tires a lot more. He's not as finesse, but whatever. He obviously still good enough, but it was one of those sets of reds where it's like, these things are terrible, and he blistered them up. And whether that's Firestone or him or a combination of both, but it's that finesse factor sometimes. And, if you're 20th trying to get to first, you're probably going to use a little bit more rubber than what you're really wanting to do. So, but I thought that was interesting. Pato is just the cream of the crop, right? He can't qualify back there. You just can't. We've talked about it a million times.
Yeah, they can't keep missing the setup. And Keith, you brought that up, and I think that's interesting. Tony Kanon's now calling the shots. Like, at what point do we start questioning some of these moves that Tony's made? Are we finally seeing the effects of Gavin Ward leaving the company 2 years ago? Are they, is this where we are now? Some of these guys that Tony's bringing in, are they getting the job done? Because you're right, the talent behind the wheel is there. It's the car and the strategy that they're putting forth is not what we expect to see from this team. I really thought they were going to take a big jump up this year, and it's not. It's not. And
it's the qualifying. It is 100% the qualifying. You put these guys. Look at today. Lowe started second, first. Felix finished second. Was first. Power third. VK, Kirkwood, Erickson, like all these guys qualified really well. I mean, if the race goes like a race is supposed to go, not many cautions, not disasters.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just set yourself up. Set yourself up. It's qualifying, and that was the disaster for Pato specifically, I think.
Yeah, so we got to talk about shit pit of the week. We haven't had one for a couple weeks. We haven't had a race for a couple of weeks. I know he's talked about. There was a text about Kiffin Simpson was slow in the pits. I think
Yep.
you mentioned a big pit snafu that didn't even happen on the pits, but
Yeah,
more of a
I mean that's
go-to.
where I'm going. I'm going Will Power. I mean it was
Good call.
it was a late call. I'll give him that, but it was still the call. You know, that it would have been cool to see if he could have gave Pelot a run for his money. And we'll never know, blah, 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 blah. But that's on Power. Shit pit and totally missed the pits. And he apologized. Apparently, I didn't hear it. Maybe they didn't broadcast it, but it definitely gave him a shot at least a second place, I think.
So speaking of the comms, I kind of picked up a sense of frustration and contention between the strategist for Lundgaard and Lundgaard at one point in the race when he was coming into pit. I said something about it. Brian said he didn't catch it. This sounded pretty heated to me, which wouldn't be surprising under the circumstances.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah. It was just a very short exchange, and out of frustration, Lundgaard said, "Just leave me alone, then." And the guy said, "Okie dokie."
Yeah.
In response.
All right.
So
I can't fault any of. I mean, I get, mad at silly things too, but I'm not running 180 miles an hour. So yeah, Lundgaard, give it to him, man. I mean, came all the way from the back. I think he finished ninth. Yeah. Hard day's work there. Maybe kiss my ass, dude.
I don't know how much of that was set up though. I mean, that guy just drives the wheels off of it, right? Like, does a nice little. Keith, you mentioned it earlier. Nice little bump and grind with Kiffin Simpson there at one part in the race, but that's kind of what Lundgaard does. He sees an opening, he goes, and it's kind of him and Rasmussen and a couple other guys that that's how kind of the way they drive through the field. So you can do that when even if you don't have the best equipment, if you're willing to take those chances. And I think that's what he's doing today.
Yep. Coming up, so that was 5 weeks and 6 races. Is that right?
So yeah, 6 races in 5 weeks. Yeah, crazy.
Coming up, Ontario at Markham. Nobody knows anything about it, right?
Yeah, it's brand new this year.
I did hear an interesting thing about Scott Dixon, that they're not giving him sim time. Honda's not giving him sim time now because of the whole switch to Chevy, which whatever, call it petty, but call it strategy too. So an interesting tidbit for these next couple of races coming up that Sir Scott Dixon might not have as much sim time, if any. I'm sure he'll figure out something somewhere, but not the real deal that Honda's given him. I thought that was interesting. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of those things that we probably could expect, is that, there's going to be some lack of information sharing between Dixon and Pelot or Rosenquist or some of those, those guys that maybe that was part of it with Lundgaard and his strategist is, maybe they're not giving Lundgaard the amount of information that they typically do because they know he's not going to be there next year and they don't want that information going somewhere else. So
pretty interesting. I've never heard that, but it makes sense. But pretty interesting.
My initial reaction for it being first time hearing about it because I haven't heard anything about this, but it does seem a little counterintuitive to just not try to still do the best for your team till the end of the season and work with the roster you got. If they're not staying, you're partially responsible for that. I mean, you can be upset if you want, but truthfully, if someone is leaving, they're leaving for some motivation or another. You're not fulfilling something that they want or need. And so you think amicably you would just get to the end of the year and finish the best you could for that group. Your sponsors and everyone else.
No, it's a great point. I mean, Dixon's been there, and Chip loves Dixon. Dixon loves Chip, but I mean, you don't love each other that much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you saw after qualifying when Felix put it on the pole that the celebration in the pits, like the crew members, gave the usual hugs and high fives. But Mike Shank, it was a little cold between him and Felix.
Yeah, I did see this.
It wasn't as warm as you would have expected it to be.
Well, you know.
Well, I don't know if you've watched many of the episodes of the All In. I caught myself watching it yesterday after the qualifications or after the practice one. And there was a pretty in-depth interviews with Meyer Shank. And it was kind of – because it's always a post a couple weeks when the new episode is what they're covering. And they were covering the Mid-Ohio race. And they were talking about silly season. That was just when the Rosenquist news broke.
Yeah.
So you could tell there were some upset people in the Meyer Shank team.
Mm-hmm. But you can't blame Felix. You can't. I mean, you could blame Scott. As long as his number wasn't matched. I don't know. That'll come out like it. For Will, it sounds like he was just offered a 1-year deal, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't think Chip would do that to Scott. Who knows? But, yeah, it's cool for us, indie fan podcasters that nobody listens to. I like it.
Well, we got a crew in our grid rivals. So maybe it's.
Do we have to talk about that today
on the grid rivals, especially since
for
we got
people listening on audio, not video?
Who's on the top
Pat
of the
clapping? This is Pat clapping. Yes. Took it home. Still didn't move any positions up in the actual standings, but I'll take most points for the week. Thank you very much.
Hey, I don't think I've had a podium all year long, so congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. 777 points. Is that right?
I think that is correct.
And oddly enough, back when I was single living in Castleton, north side of Indianapolis, a 1-bedroom apartment used to cost me $777 a month. So there you go. It's come full circle.
Wow. All right. That's a random fact right there.
Yeah. Hey, just thought of that. Like that was off the cuff, not rehearsed, not even talked about. Yep, there you go. What else you guys got?
We got Tink and Tonic again. So Chris Tinky, congratulations. I think that's like his third or fourth.
I know
this year. And then IndyCar racing. So.
Yeah, I did not move in position. Mad Dog went up.
Yeah.
Scott Dime Life Wire went down. Milcaduno, he's setting himself up pretty well.
Yeah. It's still a battle.
Yeah, there's still room. Still room.
Yeah, so what's exciting about this week too is we're going to have a pre-race episode because we are turning the corner, and like we said, we got a jam-packed schedule. So you're going to be seeing a lot more podcasts pushed out for you. And we're one more race closer to our trip to Milwaukee, which we are thrilled about and excited. We're bringing 2 of our other fraternity brothers along, Maddox and Petty. So we're excited to make some memories and have a great time watching Indy cars go fast, turn left.
Yep. You'll love Kevin Petty, I promise you. We'll go live or of some sort, so you get to meet everybody.
All right, we'll catch us next time for episode number 90.
90. See ya.
There we go.
Later.